Hello everyone, this is Aradhya and in this video I'll be demonstrating all the major concepts from Computer Networks and Security Lab assignments 1 and 2. It comprises of Linux general commands, Windows networking commands, Linux networking tools, Nmap scanning and firewall configuration using IP tables. So let's begin. I'll open my terminal and we'll start writing. So I'll be starting with Linux general commands. So let's say I want to see my current working directory. How do I do it? I'll do pwd. Pwd shows you my current working directory. If let's say I want to see all the files and folders in my current directory, how do I do that? I do it with ls. It lists all the files and folders on my current directory. Let's say I want to know a little bit more about these files. How will I do that? We'll do lsl. So this shows me when were they created, how many mice do they have, and etc. etc. Let's say I want to see my current directory. What's my current directory? I'll do this. Is cd, we know for watching current directory we can do pwd. If I want to change directories, I can do cd. So let's say I want to go one level up. How will I do that? I'll do this. It'll take me one level up to my home folder. But let's say I want to go back. I'll type simple cd and it'll be take back to my working directory. So let's say I want to create a directory. So I'll do mkdir. Let's create a directory demo. So now I have demo. So let's do ls to see if demo was actually created. As you can see, it's here. It was created. Let's say I want to remove demo. So I'll do rmdir demo, which will remove it. Let's see. Yep, it's not there. So let's say I want to create an empty file. Why would you want to create an empty file? So you can maybe don't know what to type in it right now, but you might need it in the future, or you need it for copying files or maybe moving files around. So how do you create it? You do touch, and let's say .txt. So now if I do ls, it should be here. It's here. So so I have created the file. Now I want to write in it. How will I write in it? So I'll do nano and then maybe the file that we have just created. We'll do this. So now I'll type anything. And what I'll do is Control X and then Y, then enter to save it. Now, how do you access what you have written there? Maybe you can go nano again and see it, but that's not, what about if I want it in my terminal? How will I do it? So there are 4 ways to do it. First is cat lol.txt. Just lol.txt. So it shows me everything that I've written. What are the other ways to do that? I can do more. Oops. Yep, there it is. If I want to see the first 20 bits, we'll use head. What does head do? It shows me the first 20 bits of the file, or maybe 20 stuff that you have written there. So let's say I do head. Look at that. If I want to see the end bits, and since the file is so small that everything is contained in it, we'll see everything again and again, but these are just commands to show you. Now, let's say I want to copy stuff from one file to the other. I'll do copy cp, alright, and then I'll write what I want to copy. So I want so if I say nano, let's not do nano, let's check. Oops, I did this. I say I need more of new.txt. It has all the stuff that we have written in lol.txt. Why has that happened? Because you've copied it. Let's say you want to entirely move the stuff from one file to the other. So what we'll do is mv stands for move, and then from the one we have just made new.txt, we'll move it to a new file. So let's say remove.txt. So if we say head remove.txt, we should have exactly all the stuff that we had in that. And let's say I want to see if the stuff was moved from new.txt. I'll write this and cannot open no such file or directory. It's not there. All the stuff that we had in there has been moved. So let's say we want to remove a file. So how will we do it? We'll do rm to remove the file, and we'll do remove.txt. Now if we say ls, we shouldn't have remove from anywhere, and everything, we have everything else except remove. So we can even redirect input or output using the arrow commands. How do we do it? So let's say I want to capture the current date. So I'll do date and then I'll make a file. So the file is rhyme.txt. So if I say head rhyme.txt, let's see what we get. We get today's date followed by time and our time zone. We can even do, we can even combine two commands. How do we do it? We say ls and then we use this, a bar or maybe pipe as some say, and the grep.txt. So what will do, it lists all the txt files there is. We'll move on to the next section. So now let's continue. And now I will demonstrate the important Windows networking commands used for troubleshooting and analyzing network behavior. The first on the list is ping. What does ping do? The ping command is used to test the connectivity between my computer and another host. Say I'll say google.com. So now if I do this, what it'll do is I'll send ICMP request packets and measure the response time. If the host is reachable, we'll get replies along with the round trip time. This helps verify whether a device or website is up. So now, as you can see, I'm getting the reply and the time. So that means google.com is up. The next command on my list is ipconfig. What does ipconfig do? It displays the system's network's configuration using IPv4 addresses, subnet masks, and default gateways. So now let's see. So as I said, it gives us all the information we need. The next command on the list is traceroute. So just like we did in Linux, we have trace and then rt for root. It is used for tracing the root. So for example, I do traceroute google.com. So what will happen now? It shows the complete path that packets take to reach a destination. Each hop represents a router or network device. This is commonly used to identify where delays or connectivity issues are happening in the network. As you can see, we have 3 hops, 4 hops, over a maximum of 30 hops. So we are calculating it, we can see it. Trace is completed. So now we'll move on to NS lookup. What is NS lookup for? It is for DNS lookup. So NS lookup, and then I'll write google.com. So NSLOOKUP is a DNS query tool which gives us the IP address of a domain name. It can also be used to check if DNS servers are resolving correctly or not. So, for example, if I do, maybe let's not do Google this time, let's do something else. Let's do facebook.com. So, what it'll do is it'll show me all everything DNS जो IP address दिखाएगा हमें. So, the next thing on our list is netstat. So, what is netstat used for? Netstat is used for displaying active network connection, listing ports, routing tables, and protocol statistics. So if I say netstat, I'll get all the active connections with the local addresses for foreign addresses and their state. There's also hyphen ANO, which is used for showing all connections, protocols, and process numbers. If I can show you right after this. So if I do netstat and then I do ANO, I'll get everything. So next, what we'll do is ARP. ARP is Address Resolution Protocol Table. So for example, if I say IRPA, what will it do? So this command will display the IRP table, which maps IP addresses to MAC addresses. It is used to see which devices have communicated with us on the local network. If there are any duplicate or unknown MAC addresses, it may indicate ARP spoofing. There's also RARP, which stands for reverse. So what it does is MAC addresses are mapped to IP addresses, not the other way around. The next what we have is path ping. So we have seen ping and we have seen trace route. What is path ping? Path ping is a mixture of both. It is a more detailed version of ping and trace route combined. It sends packets to each hop and shows packets loss and latency. This is useful for diagnosing network congestion or faulty routers, but it may take a lot of time, so I won't run it. The next on the list is getMac. GetMac, as it says, will get the MAC address. So if I say getMac, I'll get my MAC address. We'll also have similar on the similar lines hostname that will return the hostname of this computer, I think, which is Beats or rather. So now on the next is network shell. So if I say net and do interface IP show config. So this is a bit on the advanced side, but NetSH is a powerful command line utility that allows configuration and monitoring of the network. It can be used to change IP addresses, manage wireless profiles, and reset TCP and IP and more. So let's continue with the next networking commands. Let's say you want to see network interface details. There are two commands. The old command that was used for this was ifconfig. So we can see everything here, the packets, the loops, and what is the newer version of it? That is IP space ADDR for IP address. It gives us a way better version of it, and it's the most recent version of this particular command. Let's say I want to check how much time does it take for my computer to access a particular website. How do I do it? I'll use the ping command. So I'll write ping. This C limits the amount of packets, and then I'll say the number of times we'll ping it. That is 4, or the 4 packets, and we'll do google.com. So now we can say 64 bytes from our computer to Google, time 9 milliseconds, 8.765 milliseconds, 7.71 milliseconds, and 9.26 milliseconds. So 4 packets transmitted, 4 received, 0% packet loss, and the time is 3 seconds. Alright, moving on. If you want to trace route it, so how will we do it? It's very simple. If you want to trace route, you'll type trace route. So trace route google.com. There it is. Let's say I want to see my DNS information. How will I see my DNS information? I'll do dig, and then the site. For example, since you're going with Google, I'll go Google again. Dig google.com. This is all the information there is. You can make use of it as you would like. The query time, the server, when did you access it, how much size, how big was the message. There's one more, that is NSLOOKUP. So NSLOOKUP google.com. So it gives us a concise answer. You get the server, you get the address, you get the name, you get their address, name, and then address again. So let's say you want to see the netstat. So how do you see netstat? There's two methods. Either you can write netstat or the latest version, that is /ss. So let's do ss. How do you make use of this information is totally up to you, but this is how you access the network statistics. Now, if I want for particular ports, I can do ss and then tulpn. This is UDP and TCP, and gives us state of particular ports, that some of them are listening and some of them are unconnected. Moving on to the route. If I want to see the routing table, how do I see the route table? So I'll do route and then n. It gives me my routing table. For example, I want to install some stuff, or maybe get some data from the internet. How do I do it? There's two methods. That's wget and curl. So wget, for example, if I want Spotify as an HTML file. So I'll do spotify.com. Spotify.com. And there it is. What about google.com? So if I want to do curl google.com, I'll do it. Oops. Curl. Yep. So wget and curl are two most prominent ways to download stuff on Linux from the internet. Let's begin with Nmap scanning. Nmap stands for Network Mapper. It is one of the most powerful network scanning tools used for discovering hosts, open ports, running services, operating systems, and vulnerabilities in a network. It works by sending packets in different ways and analyzing the responses. In this section, I'll demonstrate the most commonly used scanning techniques. For TCP SYN scan, that is still scan, all of these scans require root permissions. So we'll have to use sudo for that. So sudo nmap ss and then an IP address 192.168.1.1. Now enter, and then I'll enter my password, and this will do a SYN scan. The first scan is by SS option. It is also a self scan or half open scan because Nmap only sends the SYN packet to initiate the TCP handshake. It does not complete it. If they respond with send ACK, the Nmap marks the port as open. If it responds with RST or reset, the port is closed. This scan is fast, quiet, and commonly used in real penetration testing. As you can see, we can see the states: filtered, filtered, open, open. The next scan is a ping scan. So it is to discover live hosts. So for example, we'll do the same thing: sudo nmap sn this time though, and then we'll type 192.168.1.0/24 as a subnet masks. This is used to identify which devices are up and reachable on the network without performing a full port scan. It simply sends ICMP echo requests or ARP requests that report which hosts responded. This is usual in larger networks to quickly map active hosts. Let's see. As you can see, we have the report. We have a particular host which is up with a MAC address. So this is Shanghai Infinity Wireless Technologies. This is my hub, and this is for every other port in my hub connected to anything else. So host is up and mapped in 256 IP addresses, and 5 hosts are up. These 5 are my devices connected via Ethernet. So let's do UDP scan. So how do we do UDP scan? Nearly the same, just we'll change this SN to SU. Unlike TCP, UDP does not have handshakes, which makes scanning more difficult. Nmap sends UDP packets and waits for responses. If it receives port unreachable, the port is closed. If there is no reply, the port may be open or filter. UDP scans are slower but essential for services like DNS and DHCP. We are waiting for the scan to happen. Let's see. As I told you, it is slower, so we'll have to wait. Since it is taking too long, I'll terminate it if I can. Oh wait, it's working. I'll stop. It's taking too long. So what I'll do is I'll force close it, and then I'll open it again. So we're going to continue with this. So we'll first of all we'll do OS scanning. What is OS scanning for? To detect OS. So while in penetration testing, you need host discovery, port discovery, and also OS detection for vulnerability testing. Therefore, making it very important. So now we will see it trying to discover what is the host or the OS. So host seems down if it's really up but blocking our ping probes. Try PN. So I can't access the host of this because the security doesn't allow it. So now what we'll do next is sudo nmap sv, and then I'll type on the IP address. This enables version detection. Nmap probes open ports to identify which services and which versions of service is running. For example, if instead of just telling us port 22 is open, it will tell whether it is open SSH 8.2 or drop bare SSH. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Yep. So here we have the state and the services and also the version I talked about. There's also a very aggressive version which we can do is A, but since it'll take a lot of time and it'll do every scanning there is, I will not show it's working. With this, I have completed the demonstration of all the major computer networks and security lab commands, including Linux general commands, Windows networking tools, Linux network utilities, and Nmap scanning techniques. I hope this walkthrough clearly explains the purpose and working of each command. Thank you for watching.